On May 30th, a video of a fire at the Hebei Communication Building went viral on Chinese social media. The footage shows the top of a 12-story building engulfed in flames with thick smoke billowing into the sky as many citizens watch from a distance. The fire reportedly started on the third floor and quickly spread to the top floor warehouse. An eyewitness who filmed the video said, "What's the reason? I feel like the fire is getting worse." Another person in the video remarked, "The top is gone now, and it's burning downwards. Half of Baoding's fire department is here, but it's useless because the fire trucks aren't tall enough." According to the Chinese Communist Party, CCP's official statement, the fire department dispatched multiple fire trucks to the scene immediately after receiving the report. Over an hour later, the fire was extinguished and no casualties were reported. There is no doubt that the fire caused significant damage to the Ministry of Transport and the repair costs could run into tens of millions. Given the current financial strain, they will increase fines to cover the losses. The residents of Baoding might suffer as a result. According to an official reports, the cause of the fire is still under investigation. However, some reports suggest it might be related to aging electrical wires in the building. Meanwhile, rumours are circulating that someone deliberately set the fire by igniting the external insulation layer, which spread the fire quickly. This points to possible building construction quality issues since insulation materials should typically be flame-retardant. Additionally, it is reported that the suspected arsonist has been apprehended. Why did the arsonist set fire to the communication building? Did they experience some form of injustice? While it's unclear what kind of injustice this Baoding arsonist might have faced, he chose to retaliate against the CCP. The authorities likely fear others might follow. Indeed, when people are no longer afraid of death, what good is more intimidation? Some residents believe that the Baoding city government will begin cracking down on various social incidents to maintain stability. The local situation is tense, especially before the third plenary session. The security measures are almost like the 18th National Congress, one resident commented. Recently, the atmosphere in Hebei province, particularly in Baoding and Tangshan, has been intense. Insiders reveal that due to the secret arrival of the Central Leading Group for inspection work, local stability measures have been upgraded, with police visible everywhere. The Central Leading Group for Inspections Works visits to Hebei province focusing on Tangshan and Baoding indicates deep public grievances in these areas. Many people are waiting to air their complaints, but officials in the inspection team are not doing their jobs. Recent reports indicate that the Central Leading Group for Inspection Work from Beijing conducted inspections in Tangshan, Hebei province from May 17th to June 10th. This inspection of a regular prefecture-level city has raised significant interest and speculation. Insiders reveal that the leading group stayed at the Nanhu Violet Swan Hotel in Tangshan, although there are 3 ways to report issues via phone, email, and QR code. Finding this information online is challenging. The officials stayed in a luxury hotel and dined at a high-end restaurant nearby, both heavily guarded by police, making it inaccessible to ordinary people. Even pre-booked wedding banquets at the restaurants were cancelled. Furthermore, local government departments and schools privately communicated a no random QR code scanning directive, effectively preventing the public from reporting issues. For example, teachers at Tangshan No. 1 and No. 2 high school received explicit instructions, and even elderly retirees and their families were notified to avoid scanning codes and to limit outings. On June 2nd, a Baoding resident mentioned that the Central Leading Group for Inspection Work bypassed Hebei province authorities and went directly to Tangshan, then to Baoding. This prompted an upgrade in local stability measures. The inspection in Tangshan triggered heightened security across the city with uniform education for on-duty public officials. Leaked audio recordings show a dual message, encouraging officials to report problems to the leading group while simultaneously stressing the importance of preventing public opinion from escalating and discouraging collective petitions. They emphasize not to ask or discuss certain topics. Loyalty to Xi Jinping was repeatedly stressed during meetings, with a strict confidentiality requirement regarding the meeting content. After the leading group arrived in Tangshan, many petitioners gathered outside their hotel to seek justice. Videos show plainclothes police officers dragging people away. Some netizens commented that many Chinese people, including overseas Chinese, lack any concept of democracy and just hope for a benevolent ruler to save them. They want to replace Xi Jinping with leaders like Hu Jintao, Jiang Zemin, or Li Keqiang, but the CCP's core nature remains the same, seizing everything from everyone. Deng Xiaoping reforms were merely to prevent the CCP's collapse, as evidenced by his ruthless suppression in 1989. The essence of the CCP is unchanged. Only Deng, Jiang, and Hu pretended, while Xi openly enforced his rule like a tyrant. Another netizen suggested that the leading group's primary task is to eliminate dissent and replace officials with those loyal to Xi. These petitioners naively hope for justice from higher authorities, but in reality, these authorities with even less power perpetrate more harm. It is known that unfinished buildings are a severe issue in Baoding and Tangshan, with many homeowners unable to move into their purchased properties. Victims protested outside the leading group's hotel, causing local police, village committee secretaries, and plainclothes police officers to intervene. People initially petitioned for pension issues, then for unfinished buildings, taxi drivers' rights, and disputes over the government's unpaid debts to businesses. A widely circulated video shows a gathering on May 31st in Nyangnyangmao village in the Fengrun district of Tangshan. Villagers displaced for 14 years demanded swift resettlement from the local government. Residents say Xi Jinping talks about repaying government debts to businesses, but it's all a farce. He is not trustworthy. He keeps making big promises that will eventually fall apart because they're getting thinner and more fragile. With the long-delayed third plenary session scheduled for next month, there is widespread skepticism about how it will address the significant economic issues and increasingly complex internal party conflicts. Chinese society is currently rife with public discontent. A single day on Platform X can reveal numerous disturbing news stories from within China, highlighting the instability of the current political situation. On June 11th, a young man in Shanghai jumped into the Huangpu River holding a sign with the word injustice written on it. Reports say he was just 26 years old. This incident starkly illustrates the pervasive despair in China today. On the same day, in Daxi Town, Tianjin, a man knelt in front of the local government office after his farm and home were forcibly demolished, pleading, "Please, give us a way to survive, I beg you." Both he and his wife are disabled, and he is also battling cancer. Also on June 11th, homeowners in Heshui, Hebei protested in front of the Liaoyang County government office over the unfinished construction of their Huizhong Young Garden housing complex. In Chenzhou, Hunan, police suppressed a protest by hundreds of Evergrande Lingxi County homeowners. Many were arrested. These residents had been repeatedly suppressed while fighting for their rights due to unfinished housing projects. Recently, Xi Jinping held a symposium with the entrepreneurs and experts in Shandong. This meeting is seen as a precursor to the signals the Xi's administration will send about future economic directions at the upcoming third plenary session in July. The invitation of market-oriented economist Zhou Qiren has sparked various interpretations. Some experts believed that despite this, Xi Jinping will not pursue market reforms, but will instead revert to a planned economy and control society in a manner reminiscent of the Cultural Revolution, aiming to safeguard his regime and navigate the current crisis. The third plenary session is a crucial meeting for setting major future economic policies. Traditionally, in the months leading up to the session, the top CCP leadership signals the theme and direction of the session through media and speeches to gauge public reaction and adjust the agenda accordingly. This time, the symposium in Shandong, where Professor Zhou Qiren from the National School of Development at Peking University was invited, has attracted significant attention. An article titled "What Does Zhou Qiren's Invitation Signal?" has been circulating online. It highlights Zhou Qiren's right-leaning privatization views and references his idol British economist Ronald Cossay's market-oriented perspectives. The article concludes that Zhou Qiren's presence suggests a continued push towards deeper market reforms. However, Chinese-American economist Li Hengqin argues that Xi's big move might be a return to Cultural Revolution-style policies, wrapped in positive terms like new era of reform and opening up, but fundamentally emphasizing party leadership and reverting to a planned economy to maintain power. Li Hengqin suggests by strictly following a planned economy model, the regime can suppress demands for living security, prevent bank runs, and delay repayments by up to 10 years. Resistance, as seen in the 2022 Henan Bank's protests, will be quelled by measures like the Fenqiao experience, which was the process of mobilizing the masses to strengthen the dictatorship over class enemies. It would force compliance to resolve crises, including financial ones. Commentator Cai Shenkun shares a similar view, doubting a significant shift towards a market economy at the third plenary session. He believes Xi's core agenda is to return to a planned economy mobilizing for war, provoking the international community and allying with authoritarian regimes, all indicating a pullback to past economic policies. The third plenary session, originally scheduled for October last year, has been unusually delayed until July, a 9-month postponement. Analysts believe this delay is due to a significant challenges in China is facing in politics, diplomacy, and the economy. The real estate market crash and subsequent rapid economic decline has worsened the situation. Authorities have been unable to devise effective policies to prevent future or further economic deterioration. On May 27th, Cai Shenkun revealed on Platform X that a local government is experiencing a financial crisis. Central transfer payments are no longer guaranteed, leading to severe issues such as the inability to pay civil servant salaries and pensions. Cai mentioned that an old tax official from a major agricultural county in central China disclosed that tax revenue amounted to just over 12 million yuan in the first 4 months of this year. The county has over 10,000 civil servants and relies on central fiscal transfers of more than 3 billion yuan, about $410 million annually, which are frequently delayed. The county used to have several ceramic and cement factories contributing millions in taxes, but they have all shut down, leaving no tax revenue. Following the real estate crash, land sales revenue, which once brought in over 1 billion yuan, about $140 million, has also disappeared. If this trend continues, retirees won't receive pensions and civil servants won't get paid. Cai described the situation as the falling of one leaf heralds the coming of autumn, reflecting the broader struggle faced by local CCP governments. His post received over 1.1 million views in 2 days, with many shares and comments. Some comments stated, "This is an inevitable result, just passing the burden around until someone catches it. Hard times are just the beginning for China. Eventually, there will be another tragic period like the Great Chinese Famine. With Xi Jinping steering the ship, that time isn't far off." Cai noted that the high engagement with his post likely came from domestic users bypassing the Great Firewall, as local government financial issues resonate deeply, particularly with those within the system. They realize that if current policies continue, no one will have a good life. He explained that about 100 million Chinese people rely on fiscal revenue for their livelihoods. Over the past few decades, 70 to 8% of local government tax revenue came from land sales, a system known as land finance. However, after the real estate bubble burst, the situation worsened dramatically, making the fiscal outlook for the latter half of this year even bleaker. Data released by the Ministry of Finance on May 20th showed that from January to April, tax revenue was 6.7 trillion yuan, about $916.9 billion, a 4.9% decrease compared to the same period last year. Revenue from the government fund budget, including state-owned land use rights transfers, toll fees, and lottery funds, were 1.05 trillion yuan, about $146 billion, a 10.4% drop from last year. Local government's land sales revenues has plummeted, and related urban investment companies are struggling with financing. These companies have restarted transforming into state-owned enterprises through mergers, acquisitions, and forming new companies to raise funds and alleviate local government financial crisis. According to Tianyacha, a business data platform, over 400 new SOEs have been established across China between January 1st and May 28, 2024, with 75 involved in industrial investment and development. An employee from an urban investment company in Shandong using the alias Zhang Bing explained that the new industrial companies are state-controlled with no equity relationship with the urban investment platforms, but still operated by the same entities. Due to financing constraints, their group established a new industrial investment company this year, transferring over 10 billion yuan in operating assets to the new company for financing. The new industrial investment company is currently being rated and is expected to receive an AA+ rating before issuing bonds. Urban investment companies established in 1991 were a workaround for local governments to finance infrastructure projects, as they legally couldn't borrow directly from banks. Following the real estate crash, these companies are essentially bankrupt and have transformed into SOEs to attract investment with higher interest rates, potentially deceiving foreign investors. Li Heqing explained that foreign investors previously relied on due diligence firms for information about Chinese companies. However, after the CCP revised its anti-espionage law, many such firms were shut down. This left investors blind to the true state of Chinese companies and reliant on CCP's potentially false data. Many investors would be attracted by the higher interest rates. As China's economy continued to decline, this issue is unavoidable for Xi Jinping at the third plenary session and is a focal point for external attention. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics on May 31st indicates that the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) fell to 49.5 in May, below the 50 mark that separates growth from contraction, lower than April's 50.4 and analyst predictions of 50.5. Analysts attribute the PMI decline to sluggish exports. Li Heqing stated that the only way out of China's economic, political, and social crisis is through market reforms and the rule of law, curbing Xi Jinping's power and that of the CCP. This could potentially resolve various crises. However, Xi fears losing power, as evidenced by the removal of the statue of the Chinese peasant rebel leader of the Ming Dynasty, Li Zhichen, from Beijing. Li overthrew the last emperor of the Ming Dynasty, Chongzhen. This indicates his fear of being likened to Chongzhen and becoming the CCP's last ruler.